Om Ajnanathimiraandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri YutapadaKamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितां तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितां च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते सप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हरे कृष्ण। We are reading from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta. If you are using the latest edition of the Lilamrta books, it is the book 2, volume 2. If you are using the older edition, it is volume 7. The older edition that comes in 7 volumes, that is volume 7. And the chapter you need to go to is World Tour. And the paragraph begins with one of Prabhupada's sannyas disciple. So I'm going to screen that and we can go from there. So this is World Tour chapter from volume 2. World Tour is chapter 65. So, and we are going to go to this paragraph that begins with one of Prabhupada disciple, sannyasi disciple Hanuman. Yeah. I hope you can all see. Anyone would like to start from here?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, go ahead.
One of Prabhupada's sannyasi disciples, Hanuman, had fallen down from sannyasa standard and had married. Such a thing had never before happened in ISKCON. But now, on Prabhupada's first day in Mexico, Hanuman, dressed as a householder, came to see his spiritual master. After the crowd of guests had left Prabhupada's room, only Hanuman and few senior men remained. Srila Prabhupada, Hanuman began. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had one disciple in the renounced order, Chota Haridas, whom he rejected from his association because he became too much lusty after a woman. I was also one of your sannyasa disciples, and I too became lusty after a woman. I was wondering if you have also rejected me from your association. A heavy silence followed by as everyone looked at Prabhupada, who sat with his head down. After a long pause, Prabhupada looked up at Hanuman and said quietly, Lord Chaitanya is God. He can spread this movement all over the world in 1 second without the help of anyone if he likes. I am not God. I am simply a servant of God. I require so much assistance to help me spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. If someone renders even some small service to help me, I am eternally indebted to him. You have rendered so much assistance to me. How could I reject you? The devotees were moved, amazed at the depth of Srila Prabhupada's compassion. Then Hanuman began to tell Srila Prabhupada about his family, about his son named Bhaktivedanta. That is not very good. Srila Prabhupada shook his head. Sometimes you may have to chastise your child, and you should not be chastising your guru. Hanuman became little disturbed. But Srila Prabhupada, he said, we have already grown accustomed to calling him that. What will we call him now? Prabhupada thought, and then explained that actually it was all right because his name was Bhaktivedanta Das, just like we name all our disciples Krishna Das. Prabhupada said, not Krishna, but servant of Krishna. Just like you are not Hanuman, but servant of. On the first evening of his visit, Prabhupada lectured from the Bhagavad Gita. After the lecture, he asked for questions. Hridayananda Maharaj, seated on a cushion of Prabhupada's feet, translated the inquiries from Spanish into English for Prabhupada, and then translated Prabhupada's reply into Spanish for the audience. Hridayananda Maharaj, he asked, what if we have already committed so many offenses to chanting? At this point, how can we purify? Prabhupada? If we don't commit offense, why do you voluntarily commit offense? You should not commit offense. Then it will be all right, purified. Hridayananda Maharaj, we don't know how we can increase our desire for chanting, Prabhupada, by performing Sankirtana. Just like if a man drinks, and if he drinks and drinks, then he becomes a drunkard. The example amused the audience, and they broke into laughter. Drink more and more, and you become a drunkard. Prabhupada continued, simply chant more, and you become perfect chanter. I will stop here, Mataji.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Who wants to go next?
Mataji, if somebody reading from the book, can you tell the number?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah.
Can I go next?
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can go next. And meanwhile, I think Mataji can figure out her page. Yes. Please go next, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hridayananda Maharaj, what is the greatest offense? Prabhupada, yes, that is the first offense, Guru Avagya. Shruti Shastra Nindanam. Shruti Shastra Nindanam Guru Avagya. If you accept a Guru and then again disobey him, then what is your position? You are not a gentleman. You promise before Guru, before Krishna, before fire that I shall obey your order. I shall execute this. If again you do not do this, then you are not even a gentleman. What to speak of a devotee? This is common sense. A man asked in Spanish, excuse me, sir, before in your previous life as a karmi, what were you doing? Dayananda Maharaj didn't translate the question to Srila, but immediately exerted strongly. The pure devotee has never been a karmi. He is never a karmi. A pure devotee is always a transcendental person. Right from his birth, he just came from spiritual world to save us, to teach us this transcendental knowledge given out thousands and thousands of years ago by Lord Krishna. Dayananda Maharaj continued, ignoring Srila Prabhupada. What does he say? Srila Prabhupada asked Dayananda Maharaj. But he didn't want to say anything to Srila Prabhupada. He said, nothing, Srila Prabhupada, nothing. he would speak strongly to the man asking the question, and when Srila Prabhupada would question him, Vridananda Maharaj would be like a little child. Oh Srila Prabhupada, it doesn't matter, don't worry about it, he is just talking some nonsense. Then finally Srila Prabhupada just laughed and took the next question, Vridananda Maharaj. He asked, how can we control the tongue? Prabhupada, you can take prasadam. Prabhupada smiled, and his answer was so pleasurable for everyone that they began to laugh. Prabhupada continued, Thakur has said like that, out of all the senses, the tongue sense is very powerful, so it is very difficult to control it. Therefore, Krishna has given us one weapon. What is that? Krishna is very kind. Therefore, he has given us his remnants of stuff. So if he makes his promise that I shall not take anything which is not offered to Krishna, then your tongue will control, and the tongue process is twofold. One is the tongue will speak and vibrate sound. Other business is taste nice the food stuff. So if you engage the tongue in the matter of Krishna's service by vibrating Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and if you don't allow your tongue to touch anything which is not offered to Krishna, then you become immediately Krishna realized. When the tongue is controlled and other senses are automatically controlled, then this is the process. Now your tongue, now again engage your tongue chanting Hare Krishna. I will stop here, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Yes, ma'am. Who? Vinita Gandharvika Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Got it, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Continue now.
On is.
Can you tell me what page, Mataji, if you got it on the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrta book?
Mataji, this is 2 copies. That one I have read, 2 volumes, 929 page.
Oh,
it's the last slide that I'm reading, so you can go to 930 page.
Okay, I don't have that book. That's okay.
The small book, Mataji, I have the small book. I can tell you the page number. 277, 7th volume.
Oh, okay, thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, no problem.
On his cue, the devotee began a kirtan. Srila Prabhupada had given them everything: kirtan, prasadam, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna's service. And now at last, for previous week, Prabhupada was giving them himself. Every morning and night he was chanting with them and being with them, strengthening their faith in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada liked his quarters in the temple. The devotees had divided one big room with a curtain, one side of preaching and one side of resting, and he had painted it pastel blue after the color scheme Srila Prabhupada had requested for his room in Los Angeles, and in their own way the devotees had tried to make it artistic and Vedic. They had decorated a beautiful asana for him to sit on while meeting with guests. Beside the sitting place was display of his books, and above the bookcase a silver vase of flowers. Prabhupada continued to work persistently at his Bhagavatam translations and purpose. During his last visit to Mexico in 1972, he had began work on the 4th canto. Now he was on the 5th. That he could concentrate on translating while traveling almost constantly was a remarkable achievement. Perhaps only a writer can appreciate how extremely difficult it is to expect to make serious literature composition while at the same time moving continuously from room to room, country to country, climate to climate, one week after the next. But Prabhupada had been doing it for years, and he was able to do it because he was completely surrendered to the task and because Krishna was directly collaborating with him. Devotees had come to expect that Srila Prabhupada would live a very busy life all day, dealing with the internal management with the devotees, guests, letters, lectures, travels, and then at night, instead of collapsing for 8 hours of hard earned stress, that he would lay down for a couple of hours and then raise agitated when almost everyone else was sleeping, and executes the most demanding task of entire day, translating and commenting on the Sanskrit verses of Sri Bhagavatam. That is, Bhagavatam were so masterful. Render could only mean that his work was a prominent American professor had described it. God sent many professors, librarians, and scholars were appreciating Srila Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada wrote the devotees in America who were circulating his books in universities and getting reviews. Thank you very much for sending the book reviews. Send more if you can. These are very, very encouraging. I am keeping a collection of these reviews, and I show them to big scholars and professors when they come to see me. They are very impressed. But how at the age of 79, could he write such a transcendental literature which was praised and worshipped by all devotees and appreciated by religions and Sanskrit professors, at the same time travel and tend to thousands of initiated people? One can only begin to understand and appreciate his endeavor. Nanda Prana. Prabhupada was very busy, but with the transcendent translations. Some of us devotees took care of Prabhupada and would stay outside his room all night. We would hear the dictating machine at 10. Prabhupada would stop the dictating machine and turn off light. Then about 2, he would raise without an alarm clock and turn the light on. He would keep on going with his translations. Devotees, I could see every night Srila Prabhupada very regularly just turn off his light. I could not see inside his room, but from a little space underneath the door, I could see he was working until late night. Every devotee could take rest, but he was working until 10. At exactly 10, he would turn off his light. Then automatically, very regularly, he would turn on his light at 1:30 in the morning. It was very surprised how he could just rest for 3.5 hours and work all day long. I think during the daytime he would take another nap, but from 1:30 a.m. until the morning, I would see the light on. Then the morning after Mangala Arati, he would go on his morning walk. I would like to stop here, Mataji. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, Vinita Mataji. Would anyone like to continue?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandut pranams to all the assembled devotees. I can read Mataji.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the Chapultepec Park, Srila Prabhupada liked to walk on the narrow road on the narrow road of the philosophers. The early mornings were cold, and he wore his long saffron coat with hood. The simple canvas shoes he wore would become wet from the dew on the grass. His rapid pace made his younger disciples hustle to keep up. Often Prabhupada's words would go untranslated, and the Mexican boys could catch only a phrase or two, but they were happy to be with their spiritual master. He was interested in the many varieties of trees and sometimes asked about them. Once, stopping before a large dead tree, he examined it carefully. "What is the difference between this dead tree and the others?" he asked. One disciple replied, "The tree is dead because its time is over." "No," Prabhupada said and tapped his cane on the ground. Another devotee ventured, "This tree has a certain karma different from the others." "No," Prabhupada again tapped his cane on the ground. "The difference is that there is not a soul in this tree." While walking among the trees in Chapultepec Park, Prabhupada spotted a certain eucalyptus twig above his head. He stopped. From as early as 1967 in San Francisco, he had used the twigs of eucalyptus trees as toothbrushes, a Western substitute for the antiseptic neem twigs of India. Shiti Mohana. Prabhupada pointed to the tree and told Hridhayananda Maharaj, "I want that stick." It was a very small one. Hridhayananda Maharaj heard Prabhupada. He said, "Prabhupada wants that. Come on, bring it down, bring it down." He wanted to give it to Prabhupada. So we made a pyramid of men, with 3 men on the bottom and 2 men on top of them, and one skinny devotee climbed on top. When the devotee stood and reached up, he was still about 50 centimeters short. But when he made an effort to reach it, the whole pyramid fell to the ground. Prabhupada was watching them, smiling and laughing. Again they made the pyramid bigger, and the devotee tried to reach it again. But again they fell down. Then more devotees tried. They became wet because of the grass, and Hridhayananda Maharaj was very excited, saying, "Come on, Prabhupada wants that, Prabhupada wants that, keep moving." Prabhupada was smiling at the fun, sometimes watching the twig and sometimes watching the devotees. A third time they tried the pyramid and it fell down. But the fourth time it worked, and the devotee stood up and broke the twig from the tree. He gave it to Hridhayananda Maharaj, who gave it to Prabhupada. Prabhupada held it in his hand, inspected it for a minute, and then threw it away. Often during his morning walk, Srila Prabhupada would only chant Hare Krishna, the universal language in which all the Spanish and English-speaking devotees could participate without difficulty. For many of the Mexican disciples, this was their first personal contact with Srila Prabhupada, and they were awed. Occasionally, on a walk, Srila Prabhupada would suddenly sit on a bench, and as many as 15 disciples would quickly gather at his feet, looking up to him. Muni Priya. Prabhupada sat down in the park. The people around Prabhupada also sat and came to see Prabhupada. People were sitting and looking on to Prabhupada, and he was also looking at all the devotees. And all the devotees were waiting to hear from Prabhupada. Nobody makes a sound. Prabhupada looked at all the devotees and then said, "Chant Hare Krishna." Then all the devotees came to love him. Because all the people there were waiting for Srila Prabhupada to talk about philosophy. These boys don't expect Srila Prabhupada to suddenly say, "Chant Hare Krishna." And they came to love him because Prabhupada said this in the middle of a silence. When Prabhupada saw the joggers, he remarked, "If they say they don't care about the ultimate meaning of life, why are they running?" "They are running," he said, "because they are all afraid of death." Wow. They passed a martial arts class. 2 rows of men in black leotards gesturing aggressively in unison. "Who are they fighting?" he asked. He said that when he explains he said that when he explains philosophically that everyone is afraid of death, people reply, no, I'm not afraid. But if they are not afraid of death, then why are they doing all this? And he gestured toward the mock fighting and laughed. Yeah, thank you, Mataji. I will stop here. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Would anyone else like to read?
Yes, I can read, Mataji.
Please, Mataji. Yes, go ahead.
One morning he stopped at a large garbage container and asked about the sign on it. Hridayananda Maharaj replied, "It says, put the garbage in its place." "Then the whole material world will be there," Srila Prabhupada replied, "but it is too big to put into this container." Another morning, riding back to the temple in a car, Prabhupada asked the driver, Nanda Prana, to go faster. Hridayananda Maharaj translated Prabhupada's order to the driver, who sped up slightly. Srila Prabhupada then astonished them by asking, "Que pasa, Nanda Prana?" And when the ride was over, he added, "Muchas gracias." There was no scarcity of flowers in Mexico City, and every morning during Guru Puja, over 100 devotees and guests would come one by one before Srila Prabhupada to offer a palm full of flower petals to his lotus feet. By the end of the Guru Puja, a small hill of flower petals spilled over Srila Prabhupada's legs, until finally he could gather up handfuls and throw them out to the ecstatic devotees, who continued their chanting and dancing with even greater rigor. On Prabhupada's second morning in Mexico City, he spoke from Bhagavad Gita 2.12 on how the soul is eternal individually. When you actually understand, Srila Prabhupada said, that you are not American or Indian or Mexican, but that you are spirit soul, then your spiritual life begins. He said the symptom of identifying oneself with the soul is that one becomes jubilant, jolly, and to attain this, one has to undergo a process of purification. Without purification, you cannot understand God. But Lord Chaitanya's prescription, which we are simply propagating, is chant Hare Krishna. So I am very glad to see that you Mexican young boys, girls, ladies, and gentlemen are coming here and joining the chanting Hare Krishna. I request you to continue this procedure. Please come here, join this chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, and take prasadam and go home. And surely you will be purified and qualified for going back to home, back to Godhead. Questions and answers followed when Hridayananda Maharaj translating. Hridayananda Maharaj, he wants to know if within marriage it is possible to achieve perfection. Prabhupada, yes, human being is meant for marriage, not the cats and dogs. If you can remain without marriage, without sex life, that is very good. But if you can't, then marry and be gentlemen and remain peaceful. Hridayananda Maharaj, he wants to know if one can achieve Krishna consciousness outside the temple. Prabhupada, oh yes, you have to follow the rules and regulations, that's all. Hridayananda Maharaj, what about when one breaks the principles? Can Krishna forgive him? Prabhupada, yes, Krishna can forgive you once, twice, but not regularly. Prabhupada smiled, and the devotees laughed with him. Hridayananda Maharaj, sometimes people come and join our movement and follow the four principles, but there appears to be a fault in their character. So he says that by following the process gradually, the defects will be diminished. But is there any way to more rapidly? Prabhupada, if a man comes and follows the regulated principles even for some time, and again he falls, so long as he has followed, that asset is permanent. Anything spiritual asset is never lost. So little, 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 when it is complete, cent per cent, then you become liberated. Spiritual asset is never lost. Even if a person comes to the temple, follows the regulated principles for some time, and again falls, he is not a loser. He is a gainer. Others who do not take this lesson, who keep outside and perform their so-called material duties very perfectly, they are losers. So at least for some time, let every one of you come here and follow the restriction. If you become perfect, it is all right. But even if you go away, whatever you have done, that is your permanent asset. That is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Swalpa api asya dharmasya trayate mahatyo bhayat. Even the little asset can help you become freed from the greatest danger. So in the Bhagavad Gita it is stated, even if such a person falls down, he is given a chance in next life to take birth in a very rich aristocratic family or in a very pious Brahmana family. A little spiritual asset is this in this human form of life will at least guarantee you next life in a very nice family. But without spiritual life, there is no guarantee whether you are going to become human being or cat or dog. Since Srila Prabhupada's last visit, the devotees had received his permission and had installed deities of Radha Krishna. Srila Prabhupada criticized, however, that their dress was not up to standard. He said that the opulent deity worship followed in Los Angeles ISKCON was the standard they should adopt. When he saw a painted backdrop behind the deities depicting the land of Vrindavan, he said that this Vrindavan mood of spontaneousness love for Krishna was too elevated for the ordinary devotees. Again, he stressed the worship of Krishna in awe and opulence as he appeared in Dwarka. The devotees should study the worship of Rukmini Dwarkadesh in Los Angeles. One day Srila Prabhupada asked to sample the contents of Radha Krishna plate directly from the altar. He tasted the prasadam and approved. But on another occasion he went to the kitchen and found that the pujaris had put new flowers in the same place as old, rejected flowers. These are the flowers to offer to Krishna, he asked with disapproval. He requested Hridayananda Maharaj to find a qualified devotee to become the head pujari and oversee the deity worship. Hridayananda Maharaj brought Kshiti Mohan before Prabhupada in his room, and Prabhupada began to talk about how the most important service was to increase the deity worship. No, Kshiti Mohan replied, Sankirtan is most important. You should never say no to Prabhupada, Hridayananda Maharaj corrected. Yes, Prabhupada, Kshiti Mohan replied. Prabhupada then asked him to become the head pujari. Kshiti Mohan, speaking in Spanish, told Hridayananda Maharaj that he was afraid he would commit too many offenses to the deity. Hridayananda Maharaj assured him that he could learn as he went because Prabhupada wanted him to do it. He would gradually become expert. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Jyoti Mataji. Anyone else would like to read?
I can read, Mataji. Can you hear me?
Yes, Praneshwari Mataji, please go ahead.
Okay. Srila Prabhupada did not take outside engagements during. She went too far. Did not take outside engagements during the visit to Mexico. Rather, he asked that interested persons be brought to see him in his room. Each evening, therefore, he would meet with several guests. The first evening, several professors and Indian gentlemen, as well as Hanuman and Hridayananda Maharaj, all came to Prabhupada's room. Hanuman asked Srila Prabhupada why his disciples were so fortunate as to have a genuine spiritual master, whereas many others have bogus teachers. Every disciple will think his guru is good, and that others are bogus, Srila Prabhupada replied. But there is a standard for who is spiritual master. Spiritual master means one who is the best servant of God. But one who does not accept the existence of God, he is a muda, a rascal. A rascal cannot become a spiritual master. Professor, do you have any opinion about some of the other Indian spiritual masters? The professor named several well-known gurus. At the mention of a certain popular young guru, Srila Prabhupada interrupted. He says that he is God himself. Then he is bogus. How can he be God? God is not cheap. God is so cheap? Only the foolish persons will accept him, those who have no knowledge. At the mention of a famous meditator, Srila Prabhupada said, I think he doesn't speak anything about God. He speaks something on material prosperity. At the mention of another guru, Prabhupada replied, he also says, I am Bhagavan. Therefore, he is bogus. How can you say you yourself are Bhagavan, God? So even if people accept him as God because he shows some jugglery or creates a little gold, then if by creating some gold he is God, then there is a bigger God that has created the gold mine. Why should I go to the tiny God? I must go to the big God who has created all the gold mines. Professor, I have great difficulty with the meaning of the term perfect knowledge. Could you, Prabhupada, perfect knowledge means what you say is correct. There is no mistake. Professor, under any and all circumstances? Prabhupada, yes, this is perfect knowledge. Not like the scientists. They change. They say, yes, it was this, and now it is changed. This is not perfect knowledge. Perfect knowledge is that which you say that is correct forever. Just like a man dies. If someone says man dies, it is perfect knowledge. It is correct forever. Professor, suppose he is reincarnated. Prabhupada, dies means the body dies. The soul does not die. Nahanyate hanyamane sarire. The Indian guest asked Srila Prabhupada about Varna Shankara, the rapid increase in unplanned for unwanted progeny. Prabhupada replied that since there was no following of the Varnashrama system, the world population was going to hell. The Varna Shankara has come to such an extent, he said, that they are killing the child, and that is legal. They have come down to such an extreme position. The Indian man replied, but surely there is a practical point of view also. If there's nothing to eat, what will happen? Prabhupada, who said nothing to eat? That is also their manufacture. India guest, I meant the figures which are published. Prabhupada, especially we who are Indian know it is advertised that we are poverty-stricken. All over the world that is advertised. Whenever I go, they say, oh, you're coming from India? Because our government is simply begging. But who is dying of poverty? Dying is going on in other countries also. They are committing suicide. And maybe some persons are dying out of starvation. You cannot stop death. Suppose you have got enough food. That means everything is solved? In America there is enough food. Why are they becoming hippies? There's no shortage of food, nothing. Everything is abundant. But why are they becoming hippies? They are lying down on the street in the park. I've seen in London, in St. James Park. They are sleeping and the police are screaming, hey, get out, get out. So why? The British nation is not a poor nation. The American nation is not a poor nation. Indian guest, poverty is also comparative. No, I saw in Amsterdam, simply full of hippies lying down on the street with no food or shelter. It is going on. Indian guest, the hippies are not lying in the park because they lack food. Prabhupada, they must be wanting something. They are in need of something. Indian guest, but not necessarily food. Prabhupada, one body is in need of food, another body is in need of something else. They are needy. Everyone is needy. That you have to accept. I have seen it in Los Angeles. I was walking in the Beverly Hills quarter, and one hippie is coming from a very nice house. Oh, Krishna. And one hippie boy is coming from a very nice house. Beverly Hills, that quarter is decided by all rich class, and he has got very nice car, but he is hippie. Why? His father is very rich man. He has got nice car. He might be very educated. Then why is he a hippie? What is the answer? Indian guest, he's frustrated. Prabhupada, that means he is in need. That is the question. You may be in need of food. I may be in need of some women. He may be in need of some money. In this way, everyone is needy. Therefore, ultimately, everyone should search after God. Then every need will be fulfilled. I can stop there, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you for initiating Mataji. Would anyone else like to read?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, please go ahead.
Yeah. From one night, okay. One night, some priest visited. They expressed appreciation for Prabhupada's work in Mexico, but questioned if his mission could also be done to own church. Prabhupada answered that he never said that Krishna consciousness movement was the only way. If anyone strictly follow his own true religion, he can achieve success. But Prabhupada added, it is very difficult to find a real Christian these days. Although Jesus Christ upheld the scripture and quoted, "Thou shalt not kill," the Christians, he said, were very expert in killing. They take pride in bullfighting. Prabhupada added, there is their position, so it is very difficult to find out a real Christian. The priests become uneasy and soon excused themselves. Another evening, a former Miss Mexico came to see Prabhupada, accompanied by two sophisticated, wealthy-looking man. Miss Mexico was very glamorous, fluttering her eyelashes as she talked. Although not quite in her element, she tried to be diplomatic and was effusively appreciative of everything. Really like your center here, she told Prabhupada through a translator, and I think I would like to come back and learn more about it. Prabhupada was unaffected. Why do you want to come here? He asked. You don't understand this Krishna consciousness movement. Have you read my books? What? Have you read my books? I haven't. Well, do you know our philosophy? Oh no. If you want to come here, then you listen. Mataji, can you a little bit go ahead up? If you want to come here, then you listen and understand this philosophy. It is most important. Then you can say you want to come back. Prabhupada then turned his attention to other people in the room, and Miss Mexico and her friends sat in silence listening. Devotee, I was the doorkeeper outside Srila Prabhupada's room. I was very concerned about my job. I was taking it as my life and soul, guarding the door of Srila Prabhupada. Hridayananda Maharaj told me, if you get the opportunity, just go into the room and see how Prabhupada is talking to the guest. It is very important for you. So I thought, well, I have permission for that. So when a man in the government working in the educational program came and got an interview with Srila Prabhupada, I got the opportunity to go inside the room. I thought, well, maybe Srila Prabhupada will not be angry with me if I go inside the room. Let me try. I went into the room and I was listening to the talk. At that time, my English wasn't nice, but I could get some of the matter they were talking about. Srila Prabhupada was explaining the importance of the Vedic point of view in the educational program. He was explaining that the main point in the Vedic system was to teach that we are servants of God. I thought maybe Srila Prabhupada would be very diplomatic. He will not go directly to the point, but he was preaching very, very directly. He was making all the points to this man. He was telling him how we teach our children from the very childhood in the Vedic standard of waking the children early in the morning, taking bath, attending Mangala Aarti. Thanks so much, Mataji. Somebody can read maybe.
Thank you so much, Anjana Mataji. Anyone else would like to read? Was not got a chance yet. Okay. So then we can go ahead with our realizations. Please start sharing your realizations. I request everyone on the call to come forward and share your realizations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I'd like to go share a few points.
Yes, Mataji.
So, this is so wonderful. Like every segment we read is so amazing. And I found that how Srila Prabhupada's consciousness, in this reading only we found how many places he says, the body dies and the soul doesn't die. And normally we see so many people jogging and running for their health. And, I would think that see how much nicely they are taking care of their health. But Prabhupada, it's a viewpoint that why they are running, because they're afraid of death. And same way, those people who are practicing the martial arts, they are imagining an enemy and they're fighting. And again, when he said to the Indian guest that man dies, that is a universal truth. And he said that he's what if he incarnates, and he says dies means refers to the body and not the soul. So yeah, this is so nice that constantly he's he's always in that consciousness of self-realization about himself, and also he applies it to whatever situation he sees. And also about the tree, so he was asking various questions about the tree, and finally he said that the soul has left the tree. So we are very, 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 very grateful to Srila Prabhupada for bringing this point up and again and again and again hammering this, because again he said in one place that unless we start to think or live and realize in this platform, our spiritual life has not yet begun. So I'm so grateful for that, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So sweet, so beautiful. Yes, Mataji, that is the first lesson in Krishna consciousness, and that's the most difficult lesson. And it's very hard to come out of that conception. Very nice, Mataji. Thank you for talking about how Prabhupada's consciousness was, again and again, we see that how he was, in every thing about him, he was able to see this point. Very nice, Mataji. Thank you very much. Anyone else would like to go?
Hare Krishna Pritivirasmi Mataji. I'll go to Prabhupada. I came on near the end, so I didn't listen to much, but I was just thinking, parts that I did listen to, how Srila Prabhupada speaks so appropriately with each person that he comes. Like he can immediately sense the mood or the excuse me, the mentality, where the mindset of the people that he's speaking with. So when he's speaking to the professor and the Indian gentleman, and he talks about the education and talks about that level, and then when he speaks with the girl from the Miss Mexico or ex-Miss Mexico, he understands her mood where she excuse me, I'm so sorry. She's just like, oh yes, she's so effusive about, I want to understand your philosophy and all this stuff. And Prabhupada saying, have you read my books? Just cutting right to the chase, literally slicing right to the core, and almost like, capturing their attention immediately with, not becoming be completely focused on spirituality, not being distracted, and just cutting them, just cutting to the chase for them and saying, read my books, and then you come back, And then the priest, when he was talking to the priest, and he's talking about, okay, any authorized form is authorized, but you are not following. How many Christians are following the principles of Jesus Christ? So very, very strict, very, very to the point every single solitary time.
Hare Krishna, Vaneshwari Mataji. Thank you so much. That is so true. He was dealing with people depending on their level, depending on their mood, and he was giving the appropriate instructions based on time, place, circumstance, dealing with each person differently. It was very, very nice, Mataji. Thank you for that analysis. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes.
Yeah, so Mataji, in the beginning, the part that I read, like this sannyasi disciple who became Grihastha, and Prabhupada that time had so many disciples, thousands, and yet for one disciple who was the first, if so as to say, fallen down in that way. So, but still he cared so much, and not even I heard or read somewhere that Prabhupada used to cry when even a single disciple wanted to leave the movement. And Prabhupada was so compassionate, even for, like, usually if you see we have, and in the modern world and currently if somebody has so many followers, even if 1 or 2 or 100 does not follow, they don't care because they have the rest of it. But when it comes to Prabhupada, it was never like that. Even a one person who is supposed to be a faulter, but but still Prabhupada cared that that person should not leave, because here at least there is a chance of getting purified, and correction can still happen, but outside there is no hope. And that part I really liked. And also when Mataji read the part when that Prabhupada gave us everything, and that is so true. One thing that I truly realized is just my few years we have been into this movement, and then I always feel everything. You have the whole day if you want, if you have the time, or if you have the will and interest, then you can make yourself entire day busy doing all Krishna conscious thing, anything from deity worship to everything. And Srila Prabhupada has given us everything very beautifully. Like back in India, we did do deity worship and all, whatever, Bal Gopal Puja and all that. But why time showing 7 times agarbatti, and how the diya should be shown, how everything is so much in details. And that's so amazing about ISKCON, that everything has been taught, from book reading to chanting, and everything is taught to you like a kindergarten. This is like a perfect, the best school in the world for spiritual practice is ISKCON. So yes, Mataji, those are my realizations. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
So well said, Mataji. That is 100% true, whatever you said. Yes, it is the best school in the world. Very, very true, and we are so fortunate to be a part of it. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much for that. Anyone else would like to go next? So beautiful.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam to all Mataji. I just wanted your views, all the Mataji's views on, like Prabhupada was briefly mentioning about how they kill children in the womb and like that. So I just wanted to know your views, Mataji, because how do we explain it to children, like maybe teens, because they come back with a question that, if somebody is violated or raped, then it's very difficult for them to accept the child and, take care of the child for their whole life. They feel like the whole life has been actually wasted in one sense. So I'd like to hear all of your exalted views, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Sorry, Mataji, I didn't get your question. Are you saying that children, the teenagers, get affected by seeing the rape and all this abuse outside, and they get disturbed?
Mataji, I was asking, like there may be some rape victims, like teens, like that, and it's very difficult to explain. Like for example, I was doing one Sunday school class a few years back, and this was like a group of teens, and then we had this subject, like when is punishment by death allowed, like that. And then they said, like the children, like they were all teens, high schoolers, like that. So they said, if somebody is raped, like a 16 or 17-year-old, it is very, very difficult for them to take that personally. I mean, leave alone taking care of a child at that tender age and things like that. So when they really don't want, and they're like very disgusted with the idea of giving birth to that kind of a child, like some people are so affected by rapes and things like that. So they were saying they're so disgusted, and how can they make up their mind to give birth? Even giving birth to a child means taking a lot of care for 10 months, right? So how can we explain, Mataji? Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can you hear me? I don't know. I'm on Bluetooth, so if you can hear me, that's good.
Very
if you
clear, Mataji. I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. So Okay, so there's a couple of thoughts that come to my mind. As you know, I have two daughters, two sons, and my daughters are now married and old. But this question came up amongst us also. So there's two things here. First, the first option, obviously, our wish is, yes, if they can, at least give birth to the child and give it up for adoption. Okay, so that'd be obviously the first option, best option in such a case if you don't want to keep. But the other discussion that has to take place is that we have to understand that everything we do has a consequence. So if the child, the parent, or other decides that abortion is what they need to do or they want to do, they need to understand that they have to suffer the consequences of those actions. So although that we don't want to do that, because of the circumstances that are involved, then the parent and the child have to make the necessary decision based on those facts, understanding that they will suffer the consequences. So that the question becomes, I may have to take birth again and become this child that is aborted, and the parent will also possibly suffer the consequences of supporting such a decision. So that's, in any case, it's between a rock and a hard place. How do you decide? And I think that's just a personal decision. I don't think we can make it black and white, especially if the case of rape or incest. It's very, very traumatic. It's not, it's very, very, very traumatizing to a child who, even if they've had Krishna conscious background, it's very, very traumatizing. So, I don't think there's a really pat answer of this is what you have to do. You have to take it on a case-by-case basis. So that's my humble opinion.
Thank you, Mataji. It actually helps to take it in that way, like you said, that either it's going to be like a punishment now or a deferred punishment for later. So that really helps to at least know, like you said, the consequences of us, of anybody doing such a thing. Thank you very much, Mataji.
Right. And we also have to, the other thing is you have to also understand the age of the child. All these things, become very, very important. So I'll share something. Mataji, can we take this off recording so I can share something?
What, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
The recording started, Mataji. Continue, please.
Nothing, please continue. Okay, so then Prabhupada said that you can do what is important in Krishna consciousness. Then he said that Kirtan. Prabhupada said deity worship and he said Sankirtan. Then Rudananda Maharaj corrected him. You cannot say no for anything that Prabhupada is saying. Then he said, okay, I will do. But he was little worried whether he will commit any mistake. Then Rudananda Maharaj said, don't worry. If Prabhupada selected you, that means you are going to become expert. You don't have to worry. Just leave it to Prabhupada and go and serve. You will definitely get through it. And there was one discussion in between. What is the most fallen, or what is how it is? Then he was Prabhupada was telling that when you disobey your guru's words, that is treated as most fallen thing. Then you will become unperfect or unfit. But until and unless you are following guru's instructions and doing your regulative principles, because we have promised our guru in the fire sacrifices that we are going to follow all the regulative principles, and be always submissive to our guru and follow his instructions. Then if you are unable to do that, then that is the greatest fall that we are seeing in our spiritual journey, that Prabhupada was telling. And then again here Prabhupada was telling about who is guru. Guru is a person who will not tell himself as a god. How can he be god? He cannot be any god. So we should be very careful to know who is guru. Then Yeah. Yeah, Mataji, these are my point. And again, Prabhupada was talking about hippies. How can a person become hippie? Anybody is becoming this attached to bad things or attached to unwanted things because they are in need. It's not hippies only people who don't have money or people who have money, but there might be some other need. Everybody has need of different. Some might in need of movement, some might in need of money, some might need of something else. Their need when these all needfuls can be satisfied when they come to Krishna consciousness. Krishna is a person who can make us satisfied with everything. When you chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, when you engage yourself, your senses towards Krishna, then you are completely satisfied. That relieves us from all our problems. So that's what Prabhupada is saying over there. Yeah, Mataji, these are my points. So please forgive me if anywhere I committed any mistakes. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. You summarized everything. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for those very nice points. Yeah, a lot of appreciation for.
Yeah. Yes, Mataji, very nice summary. Thank you so much. You did just like Supriya Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. I'm just learning from her. One day I will completely do her like her, Mataji. That's only desire. With all your association, Mataji. I have got motivated to read Lilamrta only because of her. All glories to her service, Mataji. Total credit goes to her only, Mataji. Hari bol.
Thank you so much, Vinita Mataji. Thank you, Shamagauri Mataji. Anyone would like to share anything else?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I know we are off the time, but I just want to really thank Vaneshwari Mataji. The devotees are called Burida or magnanimous. So, I mean, she needn't have shared this, but she shared this only to benefit all of us who are, having teenage kids. And Vaneshwari Mataji, we don't have another person like you in your age and experience. And having come from this country, you can very well understand what our kids are, in what environment they are, what our mindset are, and what we should be equipping ourselves with to be compassionate towards them. I'm really, really grateful for this your association. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hari. Thank you, Mataji.
And if I may share one more point, this was going on in my head from last week's reading.